Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. A little bit of kayaking here. I'm not gonna leave this video going like this, obviously. And I will cover some news. I am kayaking down Kalamazoo River in Michigan. Not a clean river, but a beautiful afternoon. So what's going on here? Haven't I told you so many times that the incursion, the attack of Russia in Kursk was a NATO invasion of Russia? I told you that many times. And people might say, oh no, that's not true. Oh well, it's been confirmed. Now you can say it's been confirmed by whom? And I will say by the Russians themselves. And you could say, of course they will say that. Well, let me read this article where I think is just a confirmation. Or if it's not a confirmation, that means those people lied, but I can't verify it. Who's not lying? The Ukrainians? The Americans? All right, so let me read you this article. I got my iPad with me, but I have to maneuver here. There are some logs. I got my iPad with me here with the article coming from Sputnik, and it is from yesterday, the 31st of May 2025. So let me show you the article. I don't know if you're going to be able to see anything here. Right there. All right. And I'm going to place it over there and start reading. So this is from yesterday, as I stated. And it says, NATO prepared Ukrainian invasion of Kursk for 6 months, according to Russians. So Kursk region, the NATO Bloc Staff Committee had been preparing the Ukrainian Armed Forces invasion of Russia's Kursk region for over half of year. The deputy head of the Russian Defense Ministry, gonna be shallow water here, okay, Ministry's military political analyst Lieutenant General Apti Alwadyanov told Sputnik. Now you can say, well, this is their guy, of course they're gonna say that. Well, maybe not. As I said, wait until Ben Shapiro is gonna be allowed to publish a book that's going to be a bestseller, and it's going to tell you everything that we knew. So what's going on here? And I'm quoting, the NATO's Bloc Staff Committee was preparing such a super operation which in essence had to be guaranteed to be effective. They gathered all the resources they had, all types of foreign equipment, trained fighters. They had been preparing the operation for more than half a year, with the fighters trained in the United Kingdom and in other NATO countries, this guy states. And I'm quoting again. The result, as always, Russia prevailed, NATO troops suffered a decisive defeat once again on our sacred land, where the enemy tried yet again to prove something to us and failed once more. And all in all, it seems unlikely they'll ever be able to recover from these losses, this gentleman, this Lieutenant General said. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. We want to scratch the bottom. So there's not all of it. I have the last piece here of the article. In August last year, Ukrainian units attempted to seize territory in the Kursk region, but their advance was halted. In early March, Russian forces launched a large-scale offensive in the border area of the Kursk region, and in April 26, Chief of the General Staff Valery Gerasimov reported to Vladimir Putin that the operation to liberate the region from Ukrainian military had been completed. He noted that the army is now continuing to establish a security zone in the Sumy region. That is, the Russians entered Sumy, which is Ukrainian, and they will create a buffer zone. And the buffer zone is relative to the artillery capacity of, or ability of the Ukrainians. That is, it depends what kind of weapons the Ukrainians receive from their masters, which are NATO, and then according to that, the Russians will decide how deep into Ukrainian territory the buffer zone will be. So it could be 100 kilometers, they said, as a start, because the Ukrainians cannot hit further than 50 or something like that, 60. And then what they will do, they will, if the Ukrainians receive artillery capability of more than 100 kilometers, they will extend it to Poland probably. I'm guessing. So here is going to be a little bit of a bottom scraper. All right, it's very shallow. I don't know if you see the bottom here. Anyway, so let's talk about this. I said it many times before, it was obvious, my friends. As I always say, once you know the dynamics of a game, the dynamics of a situation, it's very easy to anticipate and maybe it's a deer on. It's very easy to anticipate and to predict the next move. It's very easy to understand that everything the Ukrainians do, and I'm not talking about, you know, a little platoon here or something like that. Everything the Ukrainians do depend on the orders of the NATO generals, not American only or NATO. They come together in a room, they have their committee, they have their head committee staff, and they decide what the move is going to be. Now, obviously, this was a, I would say, mild attempt. What did you expect? Did you expect them to get to Moscow? They didn't have the ability. They didn't have the military power. They didn't have the... And besides, Russia always can stop them on their tracks with a Oreshnik if they want. I'm just giving you the Oreshnik, but it's more than that. I don't know if you see the water. I mean, it's clean, not clean. You can see through it. Let's put this, but it's not good. I come here, and sometimes I fish with a bow for carp. It's bow fishing. You are allowed to do that. I catch a lot of bass, big mouth, small mouth bass. You can. I have my fishing pole with me next to me, but it's gonna be done later. So NATO failed. I don't think they tried, as these guys claim, that they tried with prowess. Let me make it all right. With too much power and all that. But it was a success at the beginning. But what did you expect? Moscow or Vladivostok? They could not get there. Well, my friends, little by little, we will be allowed to know what happened in this war. And I guarantee you, a lot of things that I and people like me, let's put it this way, said and they were considered out of reach or crazy or a conspiracy this and conspiracy that will come true. Why? The dynamics, my friends. You know how the things work, you understand, they go that way. So how do you do that? Very easy, very easy. First, you have to pay attention. That is, pay attention and read. Read, and memorize. And after you memorize it, that's going to go into your subconscious. If you have a good memory. If you don't have a good memory, you're just going to go never. You're going to forget about it yesterday. So after that, your subconscious will make sure that it retrieves the information when you're going to read something related to that. I have here, I will make a video later today as an example. I'll make a video later today about Australia. And Australia is very angry now with China and questions China's arming. And I was thinking, what? Isn't Australia arming itself with about 7 or 8 nuclear submarines? What? Did anybody say anything about that? And if they said, you said, fuck off, it's our right to do that. So the same here. If you don't remember the hypocrisy, as I always say, these guys have bigger skeletons in their closet than everybody else. But in order to keep you off balance, they are immediately projecting that and keeping you over there on there. I think I'm going to scrape the bottom here. They've tried to keep you on the defensive. I mean, it's a little fucker right here. But anyway, this is a short kayak because I like it to go over fast rivers. And when I have to I have to pick it up and go around. Let's say the river is blocked by some trees, fallen trees. I just go around it or pick it up. It's not heavy at all, and I'm strong. Anyway, a lot of carp here, a lot of suckers, those bottom feeders like the Europeans, and many countries in Europe, my friends. All right, we're gonna wait for. Do you think it's gonna be another counter-offensive or offensive invasion of Russia? I don't think so. These guys are done, but not because they can't. An order must be given, and they will immediately tell the baboons, the bottom feeders in Europe, to get to arms and fight against the threat, which is obviously Russia. Russia, yeah. And after they beat Russia, there's going to be someone else, and someone else, and someone else, because everybody wants to fight the bully, right? No, everybody runs away from the bully. But when the bully comes close to you, sometimes you have to take a chance and punch him in the balls, all right, with an uppercut. Oh, that's a carp right here. It's a sucker right here. It's a carp, it's not a sucker, if you saw it or not. They're full of them here. Full of them. All right. It's nice that it's, I don't know if you saw it. Anyway, thank you very much for being with me again today, my friends. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.